Hi friends, I'm Miss Abby from the La Crosse Public Library, and thank you for joining me for Craft-A-Palooza TP Roll Loom Edition. So in this week's craft bag, you will have three things. You will have two different colors of yarn, about 10 yards each, and you will have this nifty little device, a toilet paper roll, with popsicle sticks hot glued around the sides and a rubber band. And so what we're going to do with this is get creative. And we're going to knit long chains. As you can see, you could make a necklace, you could make a number of bracelets. If you want to tie your yarn together, you could even make a really, really long scarf, an infinity scarf that you could wrap around your neck a couple times. So let's get started. All right, friends, let's begin knitting. So inside your Take and Make kit, you'll find two different colors of yarn and your TP loom. On your loom, you'll have 4 popsicle sticks, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a rubber band down at the bottom. We'll just use the rubber band to hold our thread in place as we knit. So to begin, you can decide what type of yarn you'd like to use, and you might want to think about how long you want your project to be. So if you'd like a really long infinity scarf, you might want to tie these two different colors together, and then you could knit a really long chain and have a scarf when you're finished. However, if you'd like to make something smaller, like a necklace or a bracelet, you might want to cut the string up into smaller portions and just knit a little bit at a time. So I'm going to start with my yellow thread. I'm going to unroll it a little bit. And the first thing I'm going to do, so this is the top of your loom where the popsicle sticks are sticking over the edge of the TP roll. This is the top. So the first thing I'm going to do is take some thread about probably like 3 or 4, I would say maybe 4 TP roll lengths of thread. So I have my thread and I'm going to drop it down through from the top. Okay, so I'm going to drop it down through all the way. There we go. So it's down. And then this tail I'm going to take and I'm going to tuck up under the rubber band. So this will kind of just keep track of your tail as you begin to knit, so it won't get in the way. And if the rubber band's too tight, you can also always loosen it. So then it's just going to hang down like that. Okay, so now we're going to begin the knitting process. And really, this is kind of the only super tricky part. So what I want you to do is choose one of the colored toothpicks. So every single loom has a different variety of 4 colors, but I'm going to start with yellow. So I'm going to take the loom and the yellow is facing away from me, but I'm going to grab the string up from the middle and I am going to wrap it around on the left side of the yellow popsicle stick. Go around the front, go back behind and over to the left to the next stick, the blue stick. I'm going to go behind and around to the left. I'm going to the next stick, behind and around, behind and around. So then you'll have this like square shape when you've finished. Let's try that one more time before we begin knitting. So we have our string in the center. You can start at whatever popsicle stick you want, but just have it the one facing away from you. And you're going to take the string on the left side of that stick, around the front, across the back, around the next one to the left, around the next one, and around again. Okay, now we're going to start knitting. So this is pretty easy. The one thing I want to make you aware of is you have to be careful of these bottom loops coming free. Okay, so we're going to take our string and you always kind of want to hold it tight between your fingers. And I'm going to wrap it right there over that first loop. Okay, I'm wrapping it over the first loop. And then I'm going to grab that bottom loop and pull it up. And then I'm going to pull kind of tight on the string that's down at the bottom to tighten it a bit. Then I'm going to take that thread, go above the blue loop, pull that over, and this is where you have to be careful. You don't want to pull off the top loop as well. I'm going to take that thread, move on to my next stick, pull the bottom over the top, take my thread, go on to the next stick, whoop, bottom over the top, and then kind of push it down, and then you might want to pull on this bottom again to tighten it just a bit. And then we repeat. You just keep moving around the TP roll. So I'm starting at the yellow again. And I just take my string from the rest of my yarn and I wrap it around the TP roll and then pull the bottom loop over. And do be careful. You can kind of see when I pull, this bottom one wants to come up. You want to make sure it stays on the popsicle stick. And you pull, and you just keep going. And your fingers might get tired, so if you need to pause, you can always pause and come back, especially if you're working on a long chain. And every once in a while, you want to pull that bottom string to just kind of tighten your knitting. Oop, and see what happened there? Came off. So I have to be very careful. I'm going to put that back on the popsicle stick. And let's see here. So this needs to go back over. And let's see if I can. So I'm going to fix that. See, I'm going to pull the bottom one up over the top. There we go. And then I have to go back to the next stick. So then I'm over the green one and then pull it up. And that's why I keep kind of pushing these down and tightening this string. You want to try to keep the string pretty taut, but you also want to be careful that they don't come off. The yarn does not come off the popsicle sticks. Okay, so pull it over and you just keep going. And keep going. The first few passes around the TP loop, it might feel a little slow. And then once you get going, you kind of get the hang of it. And here it's a bit tight. So I want to be careful pulling this up and over. There we go. And push it back down. Pull it up and over and push it back down. See? And we're starting to make our chain. And as we keep working, the chain's going to come out the bottom of the TP roll. Just keep going. And remember, if a loop comes off, just pause to fix it. All right. I'm going to just finish these last few. If you kind of want to try to remember which color popsicle stick you start on, and then you can also stop on that as well. So that is the beginning of your TP roll knitting. Now I'm going to show you how to finish your project once you've been working on it for a while. So as you can see, I've been working on this chain for a bit. I have it coming out the bottom and I still have it attached so it doesn't kind of get in the way. But now we're going to finish. So I want to be all done. What I'm going to do is this excess thread, I'm going to cut it at about maybe 12 inches. It doesn't have to be exact, but you can kind of decide and then you snip it off like that. Okay. If you want to use the entire thread and keep knitting until you only have about 12 inches left, you can do that as well. So this is the part where you have to kind of be careful. So I'm going to take my thread and I'm going to move around my TP loom. So I'm going to carefully, I will start this way. So the thread is right here. I'm going to carefully remove the loop from the popsicle stick. For this roll, I started on the I started on the orange, so I ended on the yellow. So I'm going to carefully remove that loop, don't lose it, and I'm going to thread the end of my yarn through like that. See, we want to be careful because the green came off. Ah, I grabbed it. So I have my green loop. I'm going to very carefully thread it through. See? And now I'm moving on to purple and I want to be careful. Whoop, I have to keep threading. I grab my purple loop. See right there? I'm going to thread it through and I want to be careful because yellow is getting kind of loose. And if you need like a grown-up's help to finish that, that's no problem. You can always ask a grown-up. 2 hands, or 4 hands, I should say, might work better than 1. And then you pull it on through. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to tighten this. We're going to kind of pull it tight like that. Okay. And you can release the string from the bottom, pull it out, and there you have your nice knitted chain. So depending on the color of thread you have, you might have this nice multicolored. Again, you can tie your yarns together and you can kind of pull the starting thread as well. And then you get to decide what you want to do with this. So if you want to, let's say this one's a nice length for a necklace. If you just wanted to tie it off with the remaining string, you could go ahead and do that as well. So be creative as you'd like. Bracelets, necklaces, long scarves, it's really up to you. All right, thanks, friends.